It is very before the
Yeah.
pledge.
And
I
it's
just
like,
was looking at these.
I
When they
personally,
were-
which might be a very inconsiderate position, but I'm like pick one.
Different.
I'm like either they're like a
Yes.
state and they operate like a state and everything
Yeah,
is,
sorry.
or they're
These must be
just
some
kind of
of
a city
Melissa's.
and they're within the state and that's it.
Is
Like,
this Water
but
Street?
stop playing this
No,
like
do a
sometimes
roll
they're a
call
state,
vote.
sometimes they're a little city, and
Yes.
sometimes they're kind of
Water
nothing,
Street
and I'm like,
it is, yes.
stop, just pick one,
Yeah,
stick with it.
and this isn't the correct term of art.
Okay,
In
well,
this
I'll
vein,
just
they're
ask.
sovereign.
Yes,
In this
well,
vein,
you know
they're
what?
quasi-sovereign. In this vein,
Is
they're
it,
just,
is it?
All right, here we
they're part of the
go.
United States,
Do
just
you
like
remember that
Illinois and.
she was
like-
supposed to
I don't
last
get
one
it.
have
It's
those
hard for me,
meetings?
to like,
I'm gonna
you
say-
have to go to the specific treaty for each tribe, and I'm always like,
You see if she sent it in a
that
text.
requires.
Yeah,
And sometimes then like you have to pay attention to all the laws that they say, then they abrogate it, and you're like,
can you hear me now?
anyway.
I think we can hear you too. And we got about 18 seconds. It is 6 o'clock. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Melissa is on the phone. Darla is out. So we have four, excuse me. Let's see.
Will we be roll call voting?
Yes, we will be roll call voting. So the meeting is open. We've done the pledge and we need to approve the agenda.
Are there any changes, Mr. Mayor?
I don't see any. We discussed this kind of at length here just recently, so I think we're good.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Dave, seconded by Melissa. Melissa, how do you vote? Oh, I'm sorry. Is there any other discussion?
I just, sorry, one quick question. I know at a previous meeting you said that we might have personnel, like an executive session for personnel.
Right.
But you wanted to give them the chance to talk to you first. Has that happened and are we having a personnel session?
We are going to have an executive session for personnel at the end, I believe, yes.
And it will cover that?
Yes.
Okay, that was just my question, sorry.
So, is there any other discussion? Hearing none. Melissa, how do you vote?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Four yes. And we'll move on to number 5, public input.
Oh, what about
Minutes.
minutes?
Oh, we could, sorry, I wrote it on the wrong line. I apologize. Page 1. So now, we will need to approve the minutes of both November 2nd and 16th council meetings. Everybody get a chance to look at those? Assuming there is no discussion regarding those minutes, I would need a motion.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Motion made by Marcus, seconded by Linda, to approve the November 2nd and 16th council meeting minutes. Any discussion? Hearing none. Melissa, how do you vote?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
That part I didn't have to erase. Now we'll move on to number 5, public input.
I have public input. This goes back to the sign issue. I guess the purchasing of signs for the Down syndrome child. I'm concerned about that. we're going to get into a position, in past regimes, it wouldn't have made it to the agenda, but that's beside the point right now. That why couldn't the parents have bought one of these little green things to warn that there's a child in the area? My problem is that police presence and obligations to patrol that specific area. I think that we're going down a road we don't want to go down, because otherwise we're going to have signs and we're going to have the big poles of nothing but signs. You can't do this, you can't do that, or whatever. Are we going to change the speed limit in those areas? Are we going to adjust to that? I think that was a foolish thing to do, because it gives more expense to the city. This person moves out, now we've got signs that we really don't need. So that's everything I've got right now.
Okay. Is there any other public input?
Can you kind of give a recap of what was said? I couldn't hear any of it.
Yes. Vicki Larsen mentioned that she thinks that the signs that we put up that basically say slow, children present, or children playing, I'm not sure. There are a couple different types of signs. One was already there. But basically, she's worried that the police coverage will have to increase in order to enforce the fact that, you know, you need to maintain a slower speed. Additionally, she said more expense all the way around. Signs are going to go all over the place, and that was basically the public input.
I have a question, sorry.
Thanks.
Were you concerned about police presence increasing or decreasing?
Needing to increase with each area
Where a sign is?
that those signs are, that's increasing an obligation for police presence at some point. And the ability to police it effectively is reduced, because if we have those signs 6 or 8 to a block, or not a block, I'm sorry, to a section, that either we're going to enforce it or we're not. And that's going to mean additional police presence if we enforce it. If we don't enforce it, we're putting up signs at the taxpayer's expense that we're acknowledging that, well, we can't really enforce it. And if anybody that has half a wish can possibly take us into court and fight the sign, because there's so many around. I'm not saying they will, but there's that possibility. And we run that risk when they could just as easily buy one of these little green signs with a little character walking with the flag and put that in the area. That way, the safety issue is there for the parents, who ultimately have the say over the child or children, and it doesn't put it on the city's neck.
Does that answer your question, Marcus?
Yes.
Is there any other public input? Hearing none, we cannot go on to number 6 for another 7 or 8 minutes. So we also probably don't want to get involved in the audit review yet.
Correct.
So let's move on to number 8. And I know Lonnie's not here.
So the items that Lonnie had, number one, he did want to let you know that the signs are up. He did put one on Dakota Street and he did put one on Bird Street. Those are both places that have households of children that will be making their way either to the bus stop or to the school. He also put in 2 new signs on Lincoln Drive, right by the Quonset, to alert drivers of a curb. So either First Street or Lincoln Drive, depending on how you are traveling. One of the things that he was interested in getting your opinion on, we do have money in the budget for 2021 on the purchase of a vehicle for the city. And this year, in 2021, we allotted $15,000. It was the thought to replace our utility truck, the truck that we have that has the compartments on it where they carry a majority of their tools. At this point, the work that we did have done earlier this year on the utility truck fixed it so that it is safe to drive outside of Alcester. So if it's acceptable with the council, he'd like to apply that money towards either an extended cab truck or just a crew cab type pickup that would still have the capability to pull our flatbed trailer if needed to pick up supplies or haul things, equipment to repair. Just wanting your opinion on that.
So this is an extra vehicle?
Correct.
And I suppose that eliminates some of the issues that we have when all of a sudden that vehicle is traveling to Sioux Falls to
Samples.
deliver samples. So there's a good argument for it.
So is it doing that now? The pickup that we have is going to Sioux Falls?
Most of the time Dale, I would say 90% of the time Dale takes his truck to Sioux Falls for samples. Only if we have a reason to take our utility truck out of town, whether it's for purchasing something that we don't put on the trailer or for whatever reason, but 90% of the time it is Dale's vehicle that goes out of town.
But of course, it wouldn't be if we had this other vehicle.
Correct.
So
You said that it was originally set aside to replace this other vehicle.
The utility truck.
And then you said that repairs made it so that wasn't necessary.
Correct.
But like, do we have an anticipated time of when those repairs will no longer be sufficient and another one will be necessary?
If we have a different vehicle to take out of the community, we would probably take that one for long distance trips and still keep our utility truck in town.
Okay, so then the utility truck would never, it's not, the utility truck isn't close to being out of commission for in-town issues. It's only questionable for leave.
They need to gain some confidence back in it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It had some personality issues. We got Hudson to repair it and they feel good about it, but they still haven't
Okay.
built their confidence level.
Yeah.
how much did the repairs cost?
Oh, I think it was close to 1,000.
And did that come out of the like 15,000 that we originally budgeted? or-
No, this is for 2021.
Okay.
The
So
purchase
this
of
is
the
total.
vehicles 2021, the repairs happened in 2020.
I know, 20-year repair.
So are they gonna need like a 3/4 ton vehicle to pull that trailer?
He's looking at a half ton.
I think they can find something for 15,000.
He wanted the council's opinion on that before he spent a lot of time looking, but he felt that he'd have better luck finding a vehicle that fit that need in that price range more than finding a utility truck that would not have its own set of personality issues.
What is the utility truck? Is that a 3/4 ton?
I believe it is.
And just out of curiosity, his pickup or truck that he takes up there, when that happens, do we know what that can fall? Not that those numbers would need.
I think Dale's truck is probably a half, isn't it?
I think so too.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and then Lonnie has like it's not a Suburban, but it's along those lines.
Oh.
When did he want an answer on this? I mean, obviously, we've got a line item here to discuss it, but
We can put it, if you want time to digest, we can put it on the second
meeting in
agenda
December.
in December.
I think that would make sense. We should And I do think he should do a little bit of investigating to see how feasible it is to find a $15,000 pickup that's not got all kinds of personality issues, so.
Okay.
Does that make sense to everybody?
I'm worried that we won't be able to find anything in that price range that's gonna be reliable for.
Yeah, very stable, yeah. I agree. Well, we'll discuss it further and possibly act on it in the next meeting. Can't, you know, I've been driving around quite a bit here lately. I guess I don't know what kind of work we can do. It has been unseasonably warm, but there's some areas that definitely need work. So I think this next,
Stuff on the street.
yeah. And I know patchwork is all we can afford to do, especially when we're considering the fact that we're going to have probably some pretty serious street work done in the not too distant future, so. But it should be something that he keeps in the forefront of his mind as far as I'm concerned, so. Anything else you can think of for street updates, or anybody else have any? I know you get around and you walk around quite a bit. You don't have the problem where your undercarriage bumps into some of these things. But I tell you, some of the spots that we
Yeah,
have
there are
are
some
pretty
bad
rough,
spots, yeah.
so, yeah. Well, it is now 6:15, and we will move on to the Planning and Zoning Commission bullet point number 6. We have a gentleman here,
Patrick with CCOG.
Patrick with CCOG. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing well.
Good, so last time I was here, we were going through the creation of the district itself. Now this is kind of the second part to that, where you have the district, now you have to move the land into the district. So this is what the rezone is. And that follows the same amendment process that's in your ordinance. This is just an amendment to the map, and that would change on the back of your ordinance. It basically recolors it and makes it official that it's part of the planned development district. So, since this is your planning and zoning portion, your motion would be either to recommend that the city council approve or not approve the rezone.
And that rezoning is specifically ordinance 2020-18.
Correct.
Melissa, did you catch all that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. You've had an opportunity to look at this ordinance and see the map on the back page, on the back of that page.
Are there any members of the public present who want to comment?
I don't know whether anybody wants to comment.
I would. This will need to be, the map will need to be certified and given to the folks down at Elk Point so that if somebody needs questions asked or whatever, because, so that we're kosher on this, and that's a bad term, that it be a certified map. Because we've had trouble with maps before, specific electoral. And I just want to cover the bases on this map, that if we're declaring these are zones, and they could be taxed as a zone, that it's a certified map. Do you understand where I'm going with this?
Yep. Did you hear that, Melissa?
Most of it. I was just wondering if Mr. Nelson or Mr. Andrews wanted to comment on that.
I don't know of any requirement off the top of my head, Melissa, that says you've got to file a certified map with the county. Maybe we do, and if we do, we certainly can. I think the legal description in the ordinance that covers the school probably adequately puts anybody on notice as to what the boundaries of the district are. But I'd defer to Pat if he knows more than I do.
It's my understanding that taxation is different than zoning. So you could have a property zoned residential, but if it's commercially used as a non-conforming use, it would still be taxed as commercial despite your local zoning. But it probably doesn't hurt for just record-keeping purposes if the county does have a copy of your map, say your official zoning map would catch on fire. It would help to have a second copy somewhere.
Off-site, yeah. All right, any other, excuse me, any other public comments or comments from the members of the council? Thank you, Patrick. I would then, assuming there is no other comments or discussion, we need an ordinance, or excuse me, a motion for ordinance number 2020-18.
May I have permission? Are you guys acting as the zoning folks, or are you acting as the council at this point?
Planning and zoning.
Planning and Zoning Commission, that's what item number 6 is.
Oh, okay, but you're also the planning and zoning, you're the group that takes care of that.
That's what we're taking care of now.
Right, but as a group, I don't know if you can make a motion to vote it in. Do you understand where I'm going, Sam?
We're
That's
not
not,
voting to approve it.
All we're doing is recommending.
Recommending to the council.
Okay.
So with that being said, I'll make a motion to recommend the rezoning to the city council.
Second.
Motion has been made by Melissa and seconded by Marcus to recommend the rezoning to the city council. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. Melissa, how do you vote?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Or yes? And the motion passes. So now, we will no longer be acting as Planning and Zoning Commission, and we're back to the City Council. We actually just had the first reading of that. I don't know if it needs to be read out loud.
no,
No,
not.
we haven't had it. That'll come later.
Okay.
Hey, the way it is that. I'm good. So we are at this stage in our agenda, and I will put you on speakerphone so you can address the council. Okay, you are on speakerphone, sir.
Everybody can hear me okay?
Yes.
Well, does everybody have the audit report in front of them?
I believe so.
Okay. So I will start on page 1, which is the assistant auditor's report. This is a letter from us. Basically, unmodified opinion on your financial statements for the December 31st, 2019. And what the letter basically says is the lowest financial pie chart, here is the statement. On page 19 is the current balance sheet. 18 to 19, and then revenue, page 11, and the expenditures on page 12, pie chart, and the income from the governmental and income and expense from the governmental activities and business type activities compared there, page 19 and page 13. And the capital assets, page 14, and long-term debt. Then we get page 16 is the statement and position, the GASB statement, GASB 34. This shows all of your assets that you have in the governmental part and the business segment, including land, building, and depreciation, debt, and liabilities that are due. So kind of a snapshot of the city at the end of December 31st. There are certain, in that position, there's certain restrictions on amounts, like community development, library operations, South Dakota pension purpose, and the HRC for component unit. The component unit is an unaudited, a balance sheet statement that we were able to get from the housing redevelopment organization, and they're not audited statements. On page 17 are the expenses and revenues. Expenses being in the first column, charges and services, operating grants and contributions, and then the total is governmental activities, and right below that is the enterprise. This is the large surcharge, which you call course expenses, utility expenses. And then, kind of towards the bottom there, you'll see that there's a change in the net position, and the governmental funds is positive 236,000. And the business type activities is negative 98,000. And then the total is at total column, so 137 is 12 of those two combined. And then the last column again is the component unit, the housing redevelopment. The schedule on page 18 is the balance sheet of the governmental funds without the assets and the debt. This would be more likely to look at each month as your part of your financial statements that you receive at your meetings. It's just showing the assets and the liabilities. Page 19 is a reconciliation with page 20 and 21. These are revenue expenses for the general fund, special revenue fund, the two cents, community center, the library special revenue fund. Total in the last column. So those third line at the bottom of page 21 shows the net change in the fund balance. The general fund had a positive 17,000. fund balance for each one of those, net out to the last count of $1,546,389. And, the next statement is the change cash flow statement. And we start with the income or loss and add back items that do not affect cash, like depreciation. Kind of in the middle of the page, you'll see the cash and cash equivalent increase. And the net increase, decrease in cash and cash equivalent. The general fund had a net decrease of $51,746. The fund had a negative $36,674. And the garbage fund had a positive $11,131. The net decrease in cash, your cash balance is actually went down $77,490.04. Then on page 26, financial statements, and these are just notes that back up the balances that are on the balance sheet or income statement. They talk about the assets and liabilities in the page, on here, 34, you'll see the fund balance. General fund or other fund. Various funds. Governmental funds. And there was 2 violations, note 2 of finance related legal contractual provisions. Is that to do with the budget amount, line items were overspent, budgeted. Should budget increased by $17,901 and service by $24,785. Note 4 on page 35 has the balances that are required by debt covenants for the water and sewer fund. And note 5 is the receivables payable, shows the balances that are due various CDBG amounts of $37,057.69. It lists them by a year and then a 5-year increment. Inventory notes, non-protection notes, that note 8 on page 37, change in the capital assets. Construction work in process at the end of the year. Shows the increase there, and then the increase in machinery and equipment, and then the depreciation that was taken on those buildings, machinery and equipment and library books. And then the bottom page, there's going to show the work in process that makes that community center, another $6,000, we spend it up to the end of the year. The water waste facility is $14,000 at the end of the year. And on page 38, it's for the business and water, sewer, garbage, and golf course. Decreases there. Note 9 shows the long-term liabilities, positions, and then there was a donation and payments, basically, or the payments and the donations. And the ending balance at the end of 19, and the amount due within 1 year. Page 39 has a breakdown of those different bonds, rate of interest, the due date, and which fund they're going to be paid out of. And here again, I've got listed the next 5 years, and then there's 5-year increments. And that we can hit over to the next page also. And again, the conduit debt. The liability insurance, workman's comp. Note 16 talks about the pension plan on page 42, and then goes through. Five. What's that? 46. Page 47 is the original budget, the final budget, and then the actual amount. And variance, whether it was overspent or overcollected, variance there. And there, if you scroll down, not here. If you go down to the bottom of page 48, second column, that's at negative 42,173. That's a finding because you overspent. You did your budget. You can't deficit your budget. So you have to have a positive number there, which means you needed to show some additional income or something where you get rid of that negative number, 42,000. The actual budget is up to 17,000, so where you thought you were going to be at the bottom there, the negative 27,891. You actually ended up with 32,246, not bad.
Yes, we are.
Okay, Chad, I hope I wasn't just talking for the last 10 minutes myself.
I have a question. How many more people would we need to hire to have oversight over our funds?
To get rid of that segregation of duties.
Yeah.
So you would need a payroll clerk, you would need a, person in charge of the revenues and expenses. So it would be, and then a kind of what they call a CEO or a chief financial officer. So you'd be looking at least 3 to 4 more people. And payroll, you're probably looking at $200,000 there, so it's probably cheaper just to take the 2-line finding. The government really doesn't care about that microservice. They just need to know that it's out there. And as a financial board or council, you need to know that also, so that you're aware that things can happen like fraud. You want to make sure that you don't want to see your name in the newspaper about the city of Alcester being embezzled or anything like that. So you want to double check a lot of things while you're as part of that micro-segregation distribution. That's the things I mentioned, like, review the bank reconciliation and do a little internal auditing once in a while. And, basically look at the statements, read the statements, understand what they say.
Thank you.
Difficult.
When we do our monthly spot checks, the individual council members and the mayor, pardon me, that does cover some of that at least.
Some of it, yes. Another thing you could do is make sure you look at the check. Make sure the check itself was not changed to the payee or the amount. And then, trace that check to the voucher. Make sure it's a legitimate payment. You don't want to see something to my favorite place to go would be like Hawaiian Travel Agency.
Well, and that, I guess, is one of the reasons why I mentioned that, because I know that if we follow the checkoff sheet that we have as council members, we are doing just exactly those things. And it's random, it's very random, so it's probably quite a strain on somebody that, excuse me, again, could be embezzling to have this process being done.
Yes. When we come in there to do the audit, we don't look at every transaction. We rely on the internal controls that you have. We take a sample of the invoices and we trace those into the general ledger. So we don't look at everything, and a lot of times when fraud happens, it's just a stroke of luck. Unlucky, how we want to look at it. We ran into one situation one time when the lady took the day off. Bank statement came to the finance officer, the mayor, picked it up. And questioned it, I guess I should say, and turned out that you opened it up and here was charged to a hotel in Florida for her son's wedding reception. Apparently
Well, and that, I guess that's a, that's a valid point. When we do these spot checks, we would have to be lucky or unlucky, depending upon how you look at it, to just happen to pick the check, just happen to pick the voucher and the check, you know, that shows that, but
If you want some real reading material, type in Dixon, Illinois, embezzlement. Finance officer there, Dixon, Illinois, Ronald Reagan's hometown, by the way. But the finance officer there stole $52 million of monies from various cities. The streets were, and none of the streets have been repaired, like it was going down. She was having a good time purchasing horses, horse trailers, and a $2 million RV. And I'd like to see that RV for $2 million, because it's quite a vehicle.
I'll say.
Dixon, Illinois.
Well, I don't know if you have any more to add to that, Dwight, or if anybody's got any questions for him.
I have a question.
Okay?
What would be the advantages of making that software upgrade that's recommended?
That's a good question.
For the segregation of duties.
Well, no, there was actual accounting software that you, in the report, that it was mentioned that, you know, that the current software is not necessarily designed for what it's used for.
Oh, yeah, QuickBooks, well, QuickBooks is QuickBooks, and what you have, QuickBooks is fine for a business, but for an actual fund accounting, which you have, you got the own different funds. Quite a bit more. You might want to check with, City of Beersford, what they're using. Kent, City of Kent, Larsen City. And I think they're all using the same one, but it's a little crazy, but it does do keeps each individual fund separated. I think right now, a lot of, when there's a check posted, it's difficult to get it into the right fund and then have the cash adjusted for the rate, because in QuickBooks, you only have one cash account. And when you do an expense in sewer fund, the money comes out of that one account, which is the general one, has all the funds separated. Fund accounting would actually separate the cash in each fund.
And would having that limit our chances of having the situation of fraud?
Well, it would help.
When you say it's a little bit pricey, do you have even an estimate on what pricey means?
I have no idea what it is. I really don't. They can tell you. I really don't know how much that software is.
Okay.
I think it's something that the budget committee has looked at in the past, and I don't remember off the top of my head how much it was, but I guess one way that we can think of justifying that expenditure is that if it reduces our liability at all, it's worth it.
Well, you would have, if you look at your financial statement on a monthly basis, it prints out balance sheets
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we would need a motion to accept the 2019 audit.
I'll make a motion to accept the 2019 audit.
I'll second.
Thanks for doing this telephone conference. It's been really strange, I don't know.
Yes, it has.
It's almost the end of the year, but boy, it seems like it's been going on for a long time.
Yeah, it really has. Well, the motion was made by Melissa and seconded by Dave. Is there any other discussion regarding the 2019 audit and accepting the same? Hearing none. Melissa, how do you vote?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Yes. I also have a check here, and as you can see, the Berglund Post bill of $8,000, 4,000 of which comes from the general fund, 2,000 from the water fund, and 2,000 from the sewer fund, has not been signed by me because we need a motion to approve this payment.
I guess I can't remember, do we usually divide it up that way between the general fund, the water fund, and the sewer fund?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Were you asking for a motion, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, I am.
I will make a motion to approve payment of Berglund Post, $8,000, 4,000 of that coming from the general fund, 2,000 coming from the water fund, and 2,000 from the sewer fund.
Second.
Motion's been made by Melissa and seconded by Marcus. Any discussion? Hearing none. Melissa, how do you vote?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Or yes?
Can I vote too?
Well, and I didn't vote, but I did just sign the check, right? So.
Okay. Good to me.
In 10 days, the mail will probably bring it to you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I guess if you don't have anything more for us, we can let you go and we'll continue on with our meeting.
All right. Thanks for letting me do this.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. Okay. So. We can move on to number 9, water wastewater updates.
The only thing, there's just two things that I know of with respect to water, wastewater. So one of the grant applications that we submitted to a CDBG funding for our wastewater facility program was denied. Not 100% denied because of the project, but denied because we're 3 years out from the project actually commencing. So their recommendation was to apply again at another time when we are closer to the project. And another form that Dale received from the ENR is we had a toxicology of the water that is emitted after our sewer plant, and that came back as clean, and so no threat to the infamous minnow.
The fathead minnow, and there's some other little crustacean that lives in the creek, but they all are fine. No, how far are we out still on the pumps, or, I can't remember.
I haven't heard, so I will follow up with Dale.
It'd be nice to kind of get a refresher on that. Can anybody think of anything else as far as water, wastewater. The water shut off for the workaround over by the community center, that was all done, and
Yep.
I mean, I didn't notice any, did anybody see color change in their water or rust or anything?
It went pretty smoothly.
I think so too. I had no idea that it even happened, and it happened, so. And I'm pretty close to the place, so.
You are.
Chief Christie contacted me, and he is, he's experiencing pretty serious headache issue. So he was not able to be here tonight, but he did tell me that it was a pretty standard month. He said a little bit of drugs, but not anywhere near as bad as some months. So. I guess that's the
What's
end.
anything about the equipment? You didn't say anything about the equipment?
He didn't.
Okay.
I can tell you what that is. So with this CARES recovery fund, some communities have submitted some police equipment that wasn't already in their budget. And it's not necessarily COVID related, but it's something to assist law enforcement. And some communities have been granted the permission to go ahead and proceed with the purchase of said equipment. Things like body cam, things like different computers for inside the tough books that are inside the patrol cars. And so that amount, if we would go for, there was one additional item, I can't remember what it was.
Speaking of those tough books, he specifically did say at the end of our conversation tonight, mobile software is amazing. It has helped them a lot. Stay on top of the reporting and the paperwork process. It was very good.
So the other piece of equipment that other communities have had success with has been radios, for the in-car radios. So I did, you'll see later on when we look at our supplemental budget, I did include it. The process to move forward on this, especially coming this late in the game of the CARES Recovery Fund, is we have to get pre-approval before we even submit to purchasing. And the pre-approval would come from CCOG. CCOG would assist us in getting this to the CARES, to make sure the CARES would refund when the invoice comes through. So that was something it just came to me, the police department just came to me last week and talked to me about this. And so I put it together in our supplemental budget numbers, just in case it happens. And then I sent an email to the chief today. I figured it was just his normal day off, but I did send him an email that if it's something he does want to pursue, pending your guys' discussion, then we would need to start working on that immediately.
So don't we already have these things?
It would be upgrades to the body cams. It would be upgrade to the to the in-car radios, and upgrade to the tough books if you wanted to go that route.
So is that going to include a CD player, radio?
No.
Communication radios.
So,
It's like a worst case scenario and they don't approve it for the refund.
we don't get it.
It's roughly $24,000.
But we've already purchased it?
No.
No, okay.
No.
I'm like,
It was not in the budget. It was not on the table to talk about for 2020. It's just that some communities have expressed that they would like to get this for their law enforcement, and in some communities it's been granted.
So it certainly wouldn't hurt to attempt this, but we wouldn't write a check until CCOG said, yep, they said you could have the money. All right, we'll move on to number 11, Pleasant Hill Cemetery and landfill updates. Parker is not here, but
So they're continuing, as long as we have this nice weather, they're continuing to work up at the cemetery. All the new trees are planted. They do look nice. We have been Parker and Cash have been working together to remark the whole north section of the cemetery. We did have those little caps for lot, space, and block to make it easier when there is a death that we need to mark up in that area. So that part has been going really well. Also, work has been done out at the landfill. Even though it's officially closed, we do have a really large pile of trees and pallets. It's going to be a very hot fire, very big fire when we do light it. So Parker has been working at building a berm, a dirt berm around that area to help alleviate if there is any spread.
obviously don't want to start that until after this weekend if we could get some moisture.
We're gonna wait till there's snow on the ground. Yeah.
Is there money in the budget to hire his assistant?
At this point, he has been helping at the cemetery and if there's a project at the street. So.
And not a very large line item. Now, I don't know, I signed the checks. I don't know what kind of a budget item it would be, approximately.
It is about $200 a paycheck.
$400 a month.
So $5,000.
And that's just, once the weather doesn't allow us to be outside to do those particular projects, then we won't have cash.
I'm assuming these are things that need two people to do.
The remarking of the north part of the cemetery is definitely a two-person job. Because they run a string, well, they pull up all the markers and then they run a string from the south end to the north end. And tap in the markers.
Any other discussion on that topic? Okay, hearing none, we'll go on to the golf course library updates.
We had people out at the golf course today. Sounds like we got 2 more days of open golf. Trees are getting trimmed. We'll pull some branches up on the trees to get some snow here after this weekend probably. Otherwise, things are just dead up there.
I have a quick question about that. Somebody has noticed that the lights inside the building are on, like probably the cooler lights. Do we turn those off when it's not in operation, or do they run year-round?
That's kind of a security light, so
Okay.
the police can, if they want to look inside, they can look in the windows and see what's happening there.
And what about the library?
Our Paige German is doing a nice job for us so far. Subbed, and hopefully tonight we can hire her. She's changed the schedule a bit, working 18 hours a week instead of 20. And everything seems to be going pretty well. Got a lot of books, new books are being inventoried and put out on the shelves, so there's some things that hopefully we can get some more patrons to come in and use the facility.
think that's a problem everywhere right now. A lot of people are very paranoid about doing much of anything.
I have a question, do we have a mask mandate at the library?
Yes, we do. It's part of the school.
That's what I was trying to figure out, whether or not we,
In fact, we had one before the school had one. There was 2 hours from, it used to be from 5 to 7, that you had to have a mask. And that was for the safety of people that, you know, they could come there.
I remembered we had done like a minor thing, but I was trying to figure out if we had
Yep.
a full mask, and if it was ours, if it was theirs.
Started out to be ours part of the time when the students weren't around. And now, since it's in the school, it's all the time. And there's hand sanitizer available, and we've used that UV scanner on the computer keyboards. So, and the books, when they come back, are quarantined for 4 days. But you can't do a whole lot else, so,
Spray them all.
yeah. So, we're doing what we can. The library board met a couple weeks ago and interviewed 2 ladies for the job, and the board would like to recommend that the city hire the Paige in German at $14 per hour. And she'll be working no more than 20, but right now I think it's 18 hours a week, or is their schedule?
So can we effectively say 18 to 20 hours per week?
Yep.
And effective date?
Well, our last librarian, the last day that she was to work was the 21st of November. And the next day that it was open was the 23rd of November. So I would think the effective date should have been the 23rd.
And then there's a line that says benefits. What do we do for benefits for part-time?
If they don't work 20 hours a week, they don't qualify for retirement.
That is correct.
Was she aware of that before she changed the schedule?
I don't know that I need to put that out tonight or today.
But if they work 20 hours, they get benefits,
Correct, they get retirement.
and we're giving her up to 20 hours? That's great.
Well, we told her, you know, when we said we'd recommend her to be hired, that she should work 20 hours a week, but it just worked out, her schedule was 18 was better for her.
Do we know if that,
So do we want to designate her as 20 hours a week, or does she want to stay under the 20 hours a week so she doesn't have to contribute, or?
You want me to ask her? Check with her on that?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, I can explain that to her.
so then should we just hire her for 18 now? And then we can adjust that when we find out? Because what does she get paid right now? Because I know we hired her for a certain,
As a sub, she was getting 10.
yeah, so I'm guessing she wants 14 sooner rather than later. I would.
That's why we put the effective date in there on her last paycheck. You hadn't officially hired her in this new position, so we just paid her the $10 an hour. Once we have this effective date, we'll go back and make it right with her. It's just a question of the retirement.
Can we get away with saying 18 to 20 hours? And then, I mean, if she decides that she wants to go up to 20 hours so that she can get that benefit, well, then that's.
The only thing, the benefit comes with some deduction in her salary. She pays.
Yeah, I guess that was my concern, is if she doesn't know that. So if she's working 19 and a half hours, she doesn't have to contribute. But once she hits that 20-hour mark, then she's got to pay in.
Right, and She may not be
She
interested.
may not want to.
Yeah,
And that's why I was thinking we could hire her for 18, because we know her schedule works 18 right now. And then if we had to change it, well, then that's not really our fault, that we didn't know she wanted 20 for benefits. And so then we could effectively add her benefits too, from when we find out that she wants.
Right?
You probably wouldn't need to make a second motion on that, because as soon as she starts continually working 20 hours a week, it's not just a little blip one week because she had a special going on, but it's consistent,
Then she gets them.
then
It'll
she
just
gets
automatically
it.
happen.
Correct.
Well, yeah, I understand that, it's just, I guess I can't really hear everything that's going on in the background, so is she currently working 18 hours consistently?
her schedule starting this week was 18 hours. Maybe even no, the week after.
Her first week was Thanksgiving week, so that was a bad week
Yeah.
to gauge.
Yeah.
So this would be her second week at 18 hours a week, starting today.
So when she starts working consistently 20 hours, it's when she starts doing that it kicks in. It doesn't retroactively hit her for all the 18 weeks.
No,
Okay. But I think we should just approve her for 18 to 20 and then let the system figure itself out when she's consistently done 20. And then obviously we should inform her if she wants to start earlier. We can obviously give her 20 hours and say, thanks.
Sounds logical.
Okay, well, we would need a motion, and I guess benefits in that blank would be contingent on consistently 20 hours. I would need a motion to do just exactly that.
When did we want that?
Do we need to have her exact number of hours in the motion?
Well, if you say 18 to 20, I think Marcus is right. I think it gives us the flexibility to say she can go up to 20, at which time, if it is consistent, it'll just
I guess
automatically.
that's what I'm saying, though, like, if we don't know yet exactly how many hours she's gonna work, can't we just say that we are a motion to approve hiring her $14 an hour?
But I think it should be a maximum of 20.
And what's the effective date?
That was
23rd of November.
I'll make a motion that we approve hiring Paige German at $14 per hour. 20 hours, up to 20 hours per week, effective November 23rd, 2020.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Dave and seconded by Melissa. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Melissa, how do you vote?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Oh, yes. It's now 7:15. Actually, it's a little after, so we're gonna say 7:16. And we're gonna jump to item number 15. And we'll have a public hearing regarding rezoning of 500 Dakota Street from residential to planned development district.
Is there any
Is
additional?
there anybody from the public who's there to address this?
Do you wish to address it again?
I'm sorry?
Do you wish to address it again?
No.
Same concerns?
No new information, Melissa. Well, then we would need a motion on this ordinance 2020-18.
first reading of ordinance number 2020-18, an ordinance of the city of Alcester, South Dakota, rezoning property at 500 Dakota Street, original Alcester City, Block 23, Tract 1, from the R Residential District to the PD Planned Development District, and amending the official zoning map of the city of Alcester.
Second.
Motion was made by Melissa and seconded by Marcus for the first reading of ordinance 2020-18 as read by Melissa. Any discussion? Hearing none. Melissa, how do you vote?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
4 yes. That was pretty quick. And now we are going to go back to number 13. Is that, yep, 13. City of Alcester, credit card limits. You can see in your documentation, credit card charge limits for 7 employees, including the newly hired Paige German. 1,000 for the finance officer, police chief, street superintendent, and water, wastewater
He's also a superintendent, sorry.
superintendent, okay. And then deputy finance officer, 500, the police officer, 500, and Paige German, $500. Totaling $5,500 worth of credit card charge limit.
Does Parker not have one?
No, he does not.
Okay. Have we ever discussed him having a need for one?
No, we have not.
Does he have a need for one?
At this time, he doesn't, because anything that he purchases is already at a place where we have the ability to charge, like Bongars or Schoenemann's or Pete's Produce. So we already have a city account and he's on that to be able to charge, or the grocery store.
So
And then-
that's fine, I just noticed he was the only employee on there that didn't have one, so.
Well, and then Lonnie would be able to, if need be, he would be able to use his limit to purchase something if Parker had to have it, you know. I would need a motion to approve those credit card limits updated with Paige German on it.
I'll make a motion to approve the city of Alcester credit card charge limits updated with Paige German.
I'll second that.
Motion was made by Melissa and seconded by Linda. Any discussion? Hearing none. Melissa, how do you vote?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
4 yes. Legal updates. Bam.
Okay. 204 Ofsted Street, we've had some movement on that. We're going to be going forward if Mr. Noyd's son is agreeable, which he indicated he was. He will be doing an informal probate and getting appointed as his dad's executor from our purposes solely so that he can sign a quitclaim deed to transfer the 204 Ofsted property to the city. He's given us permission to go ahead and get the building or home and anything else that's on there that is in violation of ordinance removed. So Pat, if I remember correctly, we had somebody that was lined up, but there are some scheduling issues with that, or?
They were in a car accident and I have not made connection with them to know if they're able to complete the job.
Okay. 307 Iowa, last week, Mr. Fillingsness and I conducted a consented inspection with the attorney for the property owner and a individual who's got some property management and code compliance background there to represent him. Everything went okay. Mr. Fellingsness documented anything and everything that he thought was important, and we should be getting those photos and some idea from Mr. Fellingsness of the condition of the interior from a code compliance perspective soon. And then once we do that, obviously, once we hear what Mr. Fellingsness's opinion is, we'll kind of determine where the council wants to go with it.
Okay, any questions or concerns on either of those properties? You can see that it does allow us the opportunity to move into executive session if needed. Is that needed, in your opinion?
I don't think so, Mr. Mayor, but if there are any questions of a legal nature, I'd be happy to answer them in executive session if.
Anybody have any questions? Alyssa? No questions?
No.
Well, then we'll leave it at that. And we'll move on to number 16, supplemental appropriations ordinance.
Okay, so in your packet, and I do apologize if it's a little small, hopefully you got to read it when it was in your documents. So these are my estimations for year end and where we need to supplement the budget. Like I said earlier, you will notice that the equipment purchase for police is in there. I don't know the outcome of that, so I'm just covering our basis by putting it in there. If you have any questions about any of those line items, I will try to answer them. Some of the things, the grant distribution, that's an overage because the fire department received some grants from the foundation, community foundation. Publications, we've had a lot of notices, so, and part of that had to deal with the sale of surplus equipment, i.e. the Audi and the gun. Professional fees was an overage due to the audit and the appraisal on the Audi. And the revolving loan fund is the police car detailing.
What's the insurance, just more insurance than we thought?
We, even though we got rid of the auditorium, which we had $1 million coverage on that building, we did separate the finance office and the police department. So now we have a building for the police department with the contents in there, plus we have this, we're not insuring this building, but we're insuring the items inside this building. Plus, we also did kind of a renewal and revalue of all the assets that we have.
Does the insurance here provide for any payment if there'd be a ransomware attack?
Yes.
Okay. The police car detailing was $8,000.
Well, it's not, it's, I say detailing, but what I mean by that is the radio, the light bar,
okay.
all of the equipment.
What was Dave's question, the first one?
I asked if the police car detailing cost $8,000 in
The one
fact.
before that, sorry.
The
The
first one.
ransomware.
Insurance.
Oh, now, if the insurance coverage included a ransomware attack,
And it does.
So is that basically just like renter's insurance?
No, ransomware is where your computer system is hijacked.
Oh,
When
sorry.
it steals all your
I
stuff?
said something about renting, ransom, gotcha.
Ransom, yes.
Yeah, okay.
The overages in finance office is mostly related to COVID type items. the travel subscription dues is from remote software, and then also my 3-year surety note got paid this year. That's the surety bond for me, for the finance office, and that's $1,300. The supplies, like I said, are definitely all COVID-related items. And the equipment purchase is the purchase of our printer. That wasn't scheduled for 2020, that was scheduled for later. Professional fees is our lawyer. And we've done quite a few projects this year, the employee manual, and then research on all of the extra COVID type items. Police department supplies is COVID related, drug service, and now they have a printing contract, which they never had before. Public works, the city shop has started their office remodel. It's basically all done except for flooring. So sometime if you're out and about and pop in there, you will be pleasantly impressed. And then equipment purchase at the beginning of last year, we had to put in a new heater in the shop. So that's where that is. For streets, we did some curb and gutter repair, and the wiring for the Welcome to Alcester sign on the south end of town got destroyed, and so that's under repairs and maintenance. And under chemicals, we bought weed killer. In
What's the
lot,
salaries one? Did I miss that one?
the salaries one is just, at the beginning of the time when we budgeted for park, we didn't have Parker budgeted.
So, the weed killer, that's all chemical?
That's, yeah, he bought a large quantity of the weed killer,
Like
which I'm
60 gallons?
sure will last us for years.
Okay.
Underwater, we had 3 curb stops that we put in new this year. And I believe that that kind of goes along with why our water purchase is a lot higher. I think we had curb stops that were leaking. We weren't accounting for that water. We found the water, we fixed the curb stops, but I had 3 months this year where I've never paid water bills as high as I did this summer, so. Then the 1987 water bond principal we paid off, so. With respect to sewer, chemical fees have taken a dramatic increase, and then at the time we did budget, we weren't anticipating testing 3 days a week during the summer months. And Pleasant Hill Cemetery, with respect to supplies, when we did our budget, we really didn't know what we would encounter for needs, so. And golf course was that impeller, some repairs associated with that, and having a diver come down for the screen. Library was having an employee take insurance. This is a reimbursed expense, but I still have to show it as an expense. And community center is our construction costs that we have been paying, so. And I'm anticipating, we did a rather large payment on this during the month of November, and I'm anticipating we'll have an equally large one for December, so that's where that 375 comes into play. And at the liquor store, we had a repair on a condenser unit. And the transfer that I'm recommending this year is to take $25,000 out of the water fund to supplement the golf course fund.
The sewer lab fees, did we ever hear, are they going to allow us to go back to once a week or not for the winter
For
months?
the winter months, we can go back to once.
So we're doing that now?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
So all of these except the one transfer are overages, right?
Correct. So this is going to supplement our budget so that we won't have a finding.
Is it enough to, I mean, will we have to do it again, or are we good?
No, that is I took where we are, January through November, I projected December, and that's where these numbers come from. So when you make your motion for A, it will be to transfer the 25,000 out of water and place it to golf course.
Okay, I don't know if you heard that last part, Melissa, but the letter A motion to approve year-end fund transfers will be to move the 25,000 from water fund to the golf course fund.
Yeah,
And that is what we would need for a motion.
And I'll make a motion to approve the year-end fund transfer, $25,000 from water to golf course fund.
I'll second that.
Motion was made by Dave and seconded by Linda. Any discussion?
Is there a reason we picked the department we picked?
That's where the money is.
Or fair enough, I assume that.
Yeah.
That's gotta be the primary reason, but.
Water has the most money in it.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. Melissa, how do you vote?
aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Or yes. Motion to approve fund transfer from cemetery fund to general fund for payroll expense.
Now, I can't tell you what that exact amount will be, because we still have one more month of payroll. But I did provide you a copy of what this is a breakdown of. So since we hired Parker through the end of this year, all the monies to pay Parker that are designated as cemetery work has been coming out of general fund. And instead of cutting him 2 checks, one out of general fund, one out of the cemetery, at the year end, I would just like to make one transfer from the cemetery fund and put it back into general fund as a reimbursement. And it will cover his salary, his social security, his Medicare, retirement, and any that we pay for unemployment. And so, like I said, this is just a sample of where we are through the November 30th payroll. We will still have December payrolls, but I would just, and we won't have another council meeting before year end. We will have a payroll on the 28th of December. We'll have our last meeting on the 21st. So I can't guarantee the number that I would give you on the 21st is the number I need, but I would just like the permission to make that transfer, whatever the cemetery salary expense is, to transfer out of the cemetery account to general fund.
So it's from May, that's when he was hired.
Correct.
Through December, to December is 4409.
That's through November payroll, but yes. But we'll still have 2 more pay periods that could accumulate cemetery wages.
And can you give us an estimate of what he,
I can't, because a lot will depend on the weather. Like, I know they worked last week on putting the markers out there, and they'll finish up this week what they can. So I don't know.
Can we do like an up to X amount of dollars?
Like I said, I don't know what that number will be, and I will gladly share it with you in January once I know, but I would just like to have the ability to transfer that money from the Pleasant Hill Cemetery account to general fund to reimburse for salary expense.
And it would be it'd be a wash, I mean, an exact amount.
Correct.
I mean, it's obvious it's gonna be 4,600 and some change, I mean, or approximately that. And the cemetery fund is quite flush, I mean, it.
Yes, it's fine to cover that.
Yeah. We would need to have a motion to approve that fund transfer. That would all be done then, probably that week of the 28th.
Correct, after we do our last payroll.
Make a motion to approve fund transfer from the cemetery fund to the general fund for the payroll pay expense.
Second.
Motion's been made by Melissa and seconded by Marcus. Any discussion? Hearing none. Melissa, how do you vote?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Or yes. One more. Motion to approve the first reading of supplemental appropriations ordinance 2020-19.
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of supplemental appropriations ordinance 2020-19.
Second.
Motion was made by Dave and seconded by Marcus to approve ordinance 2020-19, the supplemental appropriations ordinance. Any discussion? Hearing none. Melissa, how do you vote?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Or yes. Garbage collection license.
So every 3 years, we need to put the request out for a garbage hauler to come in and provide garbage service to the city. This year, I only had one person respond, and that's Lauren Fisher Disposal. He has met the requirements by providing a certificate of liability insurance, a copy of all his driver's license and social security numbers, as well as completing the application. The rate fee for all citizens will be $12.50 per month, not including can rental.
Do you have any idea what it is now?
It's 2502 minus. Minus $1.25. 1126.
Still up 70, 75, and 5 more.
$1.24.
When you say can rentals, $1.25?
$1.25 a month.
I suppose I'll be able to afford it.
We would need a motion to, and incidentally, here is the documentation she was referring to, certificate of liability insurance, the application, and their driver's license information for the individuals. We would need a motion to award that garbage collection license to Lauren Fisher Disposal.
Is the can rental fee staying the same?
He did not differentiate that on his license, so I am going with the assumption that it is. but if you want me, I could probably call him, he's probably phone accessible.
Well, I suppose it wouldn't hurt if you think he'll answer.
I'll text him too and see if he responds to that.
Shall we wait just a little bit to come back and revisit number 17 if we hear something from him?
Yeah, I guess let's move on to something else, and if he doesn't respond, we'll.
Okay, then let's move on to number 18, finance office updates.
One of the things, we are getting to year end, so some of those things, the housekeeping things we do need to address. One of them will be the spot checks. We have quite a few months that need to be done. And Melissa, while we have you on the phone, would it be more convenient for you if we switched, maybe you and Dave or you and Dan to do October versus December?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay. So do either of you have a preference?
I can do it.
Okay. So Melissa will move you to October, which is available now whenever you would like. And then Dan will do December, which will be available in January.
Okay, yeah, I can do pretty much any day next week except the 14th, so.
Okay. The only day that I know right now that's not a good day for me is the 18th. So any,
Is what?
is the 18th, next Friday. So,
I will let you know by this Friday for sure what day to go.
okay, that sounds good.
So it'll either be Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday.
Okay.
I'll let you know by the end of the week.
All right, perfect. I am gonna hand out the resolution of fees for 2021. I would like to have you look at that and let me know of any changes that you would like made for 2021. And then I will make those changes by the December 21st meeting, and then it can be approved in the January meeting. The next project I'm going to be working on is completing all of our CARES funding reimbursement. I have the police department funds just about done, and then I'll work on our supplies that we purchase throughout the year and all the other departments and submit all those online. We did receive $10,000 for our wastewater facility grant. That money came in over the weekend, so that's nice.
Did we get the tablets? Might I just not?
We have made progress on our website. I finally did get permission to gain control of our domain name, and I will now work with GovOffice to move our website to the new to the hosting source. And once I have the hosting source, then I can create the email addresses for everybody. So my goal is to have the tablets on the 21st of December for all of you.
Have we, they're here? Do we open
Mhm.
them? Okay.
They are here. We did have someone pay off their revolving loan early. So they took out a loan in 2019 and they came in and paid their loan last month. So that was very nice. So you'll notice a significant increase in the account balance of the revolving loan fund. And one of the other projects that Parker is gonna be doing is he's gonna rebuild that fence at the pool. I don't know if a car hit it or if it it just rotted off, a post rotted off, but that fence that we have around the retaining wall, that corner post is broken. So we're gonna take advantage of the nice weather and get a new fence built. And I wasn't counting on Darla not being here, so her warrants will need to be signed.
Did Darla Street anything start?
That's what I was thinking, it was, it got moved to
Yeah,
December, didn't
it
it?
was,
I
It
knew
was
it was
supposed to have been
start
in November, but then I
but
thought it got moved to December.
So you don't
park it now.
I just couldn't
I got
remember
so
when.
I'm not even done.
Oh, you're not done, okay.
No, I got half of Melissa's yet to do.
Oh, okay, well, I can.
I can do it.
Okay.
I'll take some.
All right, yeah,
And give them, I still got that pile left.
okay, perfect.
I love it.
Big dollars on that one.
Woot.
well, so are we going to have a motion to approve the warrants?
Well, they probably need to go through that.
Yeah, you should go through them first,
Right,
so-
finish that.
And then
I just want to say thank you to whoever has been assigned to mine.
There's only one here, what's the deal?
Oh, sorry. You felt fat, so I thought you had
29
fun.
pages long, but it was only one thing.
Oh, the record bill, sorry. You get the largest one. Okay.
Dang. That sounds like a lot of pages. And mine's very like small pages and large amounts.
Huge amounts.
Whoa.
Yeah, I warned you.
So who's that, what department's that?
Vision Construction, Community Center.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wasn't here when the mayor signed that one, but Wanda said he was going along, oh.
Yeah, that was kind of a shock to me when I saw it.
more than 4 figures, huh?
Yes.
Okay, Kat, because I'm a dummy and I've forgotten a billion times now. When I don't have the thing that goes here, it's
Mhm.
just like one of these.
Mm-hmm,
I've checked all the numbers, they work. So
okay,
I
that's
just
it.
sign it. Do I put the number here?
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Just wanted to make sure.
Because that
it's
is the amount that check would have been
Nice.
made for if it wasn't for other departments.
not- If it wasn't everybody else.
That's right.
I was like, I swear that's what I'm supposed to do, but before I just mess it all up, I'll wait to the end.
Well, while you're reading those, we do have a couple of reminders and updates. The city office will be closed December 24th and 25th for the Christmas holiday. The city office will also be closed January 1st for the New Year's holiday.
Is there like an arts and crafts thing at these tables?
Glittery
I'm like, 'cause that's a red and green glitter. I can only
Christmas
imagine
decks.
what that's for.
Christmas decks. Those were our staging tables.
I got that.
I did buy them all.
Come on. I like randomly look down and my hands are glittery. I'm like, okay. Crafts, we're done at this table.
It's a feature.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate glitter, so. I was just like,
While we're breaking the action, I should have talked about this when we had the library thing, but there isn't anything about the community center, but I have the name and contact information of a broker who deals in restaurant equipment.
Nice,
So
okay.
maybe when we get someplace where we can store something, we want to start checking contact that person.
Tom Walsh had asked me if we had a number associated with what we need for furniture, fixtures, and equipment. So that would be good to work on that after the first of the year.
How many people are gonna like work at the community center at one time?
I
Because
don't
when I
mind
see
it
the
yet.
picture, I just picture it big. I'm like, someone's gotta work the kitchen, someone's gotta work the bar. So I'm just like thinking, how many people are working?
Yeah, that's gonna be a whole nother venture.
I just curious.
So that's gonna more.
I'm sure. I was just like thinking about it, I'm like, there's no way one person's running that, so. Or it's a lot, they're very efficient.
Eek. Lauren Fisher did respond to me, and the can rental price is the same.
Did you hear that, Melissa?
I heard can rental price and then, what?
It is the same.
Okay.
So we could move back to number 17, garbage can, or garbage collection license. I would need a motion to approve.
I move to award and approve the 2021 to 2023 garbage collection license to Lauren Fisher Disposal at a rate of.
I will make a motion to award and approve the 2021 to 2023 garbage collection license to Lauren Fisher Disposal at a rate of $12.50 per month, not including can rental, which will remain the same.
I'll second that.
Since she completed it. we'll
Sounds
give
like a
that-
plan.
All right. Melissa, it was being moved, and it's difficult to hear on that, but. Okay, the motion was made by Melissa and seconded by Marcus for the garbage collection license for Lauren Fisher. Any discussion?
I was concerned it might be higher.
Yeah, so do I.
I don't pay the bills.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. Melissa, how do you vote?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Or yes? All right.
I'm done.
Now- Okay,
That was a
and
pile.
do we now have the warrants all reviewed? I would need a motion to approve those warrants.
I move we approve the warrants.
I'll second that.
Motion was made by Marcus and seconded by Linda to approve the warrants. Any discussion?
I guess this is typically when I don't sign, I abstain, but I'm assuming if I abstain, then we can't do this, is that correct?
You trust us, come on.
I think
We can do 3
under,
out of 5, right?
under Robert's rules, we still have a quorum.
Right, but I'm saying since there's only 5 people in the council, you only need 5 votes, right?
Yeah, so we would,
Okay,
so we would be fine.
so I will be abstaining since I did not sign any of them.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none. Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
3 yes. One abstain.
Mr. Legal Counsel, are we gonna get in trouble for that?
Probably not, and if you do, there's a way you can fix it.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Okay, then there's another one that's basically approving me the ability to sign the checks and pay the year-end warrants.
I make a motion to approve Mayor Hader to sign checks and pay year-end warrants.
I'll second that.
Motion was made by Dave and seconded by Linda to allow me to sign the checks and pay the year-end warrants. Any discussion? Since these are warrants that are in the future, Melissa, do you want to vote on this?
Yeah, I will.
All right. Once again, any other discussion? Hearing none. Melissa, how do you vote?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Oh, yes. Now, we move to number 19, executive session for personnel.
I move that we enter into executive session pursuant to SDCL 125-2-1.
Correct.
My eyes are bad.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made by Marcus and seconded by Linda to move into executive session pursuant to SDCL 125-2-1. Any discussion? Hearing none. Melissa, how do you vote?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
4 yes, and we are in executive session at 7:58 PM. But I don't know what more needs to be said or what needs to be discussed. It is going to be, for all practical purposes, guidelines. I don't necessarily agree with a mandate, but at the same time, I do know that my employer has not mandated mask use, but has strongly suggested mask use, and so strongly that some people that just plain did not wear masks are now wearing masks. So I think that is really what needs to be done. I think people need to take responsibility.
I think one thing we have to kind of think about is whether or not we want to, I think we need to create an employee guideline at the very minimum. And we can think about mask mandates. I think we have to also figure out whether or not we want to use the Department of Health's 10 days or the CDC's 14 days in terms of what we wish to incorporate into our employee policy or guideline, whatever we want to call it. Because obviously that would have different impacts, especially if you have a close contact where you're not only thinking about 14 days, you're thinking about like 28 days or 27.
Spouse or some child,
Yeah.
family member, you know. Well, and the other thing, just to throw another number in there, that 5-day thing, I just saw the article online and on the news, you know, they're talking about those 2 times now, 10 and 5. Well, I don't think anybody really knows what they're talking about. They're practicing medicine. So they're still trying to get it right. And it's a new virus. So it's got to be somewhat dynamic. That's one of the reasons why I think that the term guideline is important.
I also think we need to figure out our start point. So is it 10 or 14 or 5 or whatever days from a test result, or would it be 10 days from an exposure? Why we say here close contact is exposure, but like, or if it's going to be from onset of symptoms. Do we want to go with the safest route, which is obviously a test result? Do we want to go with a more reasonable number, which might be the symptoms?
Well, when it happened to Becky and myself, we were just exposed. We were just at a picnic. We were outside, thank goodness. And we were exposed on, it was a Sunday. And we found out that Thursday that this nephew had been diagnosed with COVID-19. We then told our employer said, you gotta go home. So we just basically just packed up everything, got out of work, and went home. Then through the phone, we had conversations back and forth with the employer, the doctor's office. They got in touch with the doctor's office, finally settled on the fact that we needed to be tested. So Friday morning, we got tested. We heard back Saturday that our test came back negative. So 14 days from the Sunday, we were able to go back. Because that's when we had the
From the
contact.
date you
Even
were
with the negative
exposed.
test.
We had
From
the
the date
contact, yep, the date on Sunday.
And I kind of think that's the way it should be.
I do
It's
too.
from the date you were exposed, not the date. You might not get a test result for 5 days. Or,
Exactly.
you know, that person, you were with him that day, that if he didn't take a test on Friday of the next week, then if you had to wait 14 days, that's just 3 weeks almost.
I know.
I think it should be the time you're exposed. Doesn't matter if you got the test till a week later or at that time.
Well, and I think that answer is like for if I got it and you were exposed to me and I didn't get tested for like another 25
Right.
days.
Yeah.
Like if I'm an idiot.
No, but some people don't.
Yeah, but I don't think that necessarily answers, so like if I have a symptom and then I get tested in 3 days, should I start from when I had my first symptom or should I start from?
I think from the first symptom.
Well, I think because we're going into flu season, you should probably push it just to the test to be safe. Theoretically, I'm assuming also what Christy Noem assumes, that like we're all using our best judgment and doing what we should and like taking care of ourselves. I would assume that if you had a symptom, you would get a test pretty
But there are
soon.
people that.
Yes, I agree, but because it's their choice to wait, I think then it should be our obligation to our community to be the safest option then, and to say, hey, I mean, if you never get a result, then we'll just say, you were exposed, so 14 days or 10 days or whatever.
From when you had your first symptom, if you don't get it.
If you never get a test, then that's what we'll go
Yeah.
with, I guess. And then
So
we'll
if you're
So then you might get a test later and find out later, and then you have an extra,
So
then
if
that's
you're-
going to make people not want to get the test.
If you're asymptomatic and you have
Right.
no symptoms, then when does the count start?
Contact. Exposure.
exposure,
exposure.
or we could require testing, but
Yeah.
May I ask a question? Is this still on agenda item 19 or is it something new?
this is something new we've added a discussion.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that when you approved the agenda.
Just
Well, as long as they're not
discussion.
voting on anything.
We're not voting,
Just
we're just
discussion.
discussing.
But I guess the point is, it's this reason that it has to be so dynamic, because
Oh,
we've got
I agree, I
conflicting
think it has to
opinions
be
all over.
dynamic, I think it also should be our job then to constantly update it too, to be like, when the best science says, actually, it's 407 days, then we're gonna be like, well, F, but okay.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
but I don't think we have to update it so regularly that it's like, oh, it went from 10 to 14, it's like, we'll probably stay with 10 for a while. And then when they're like, oh, no, it's actually 25, well, then we might be like, it's a little,
Well, I think this should be on the agenda for next time, and by then there could be other guidelines.
Right,
Never
that's
know.
true.
It might be 5 days by then,
I think
might be
I agree.
15.
I think this document should be on the agenda and we should be ready to like amend it right then and there.
Okay.
Good idea.
Just so you know where I stand on this, I would be seriously ready to recommend that city employees wear a mask. But I won't vote to mandate it, at least not now.
Strongly suggest. Melissa, did you get all that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Not Marcus, that's okay.
Well, the discussion, I assume, is the discussion over for now? We'll put that on the agenda for next meeting. And there's only one other thing on the agenda, and that's item 20.
I move that we adjourn.
I'll second. Oh,
Dave, go ahead.
Marcus made the motion, Dave seconded to adjourn the council. Any discussion? Hearing none. Melissa, how do you vote? Linda?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Dave?
aye.
Oh, yes. We are adjourned at 8:47 PM. Well, there's definitely no meeting this time, but we did have a lot of stuff.
I feel like we were pretty efficient for a
Yeah, I
time,
think so.
for having so much.
Considering how much we had to,
Considering how like our first meeting is also not this
Alliance
long.
Communication always gives the city something, and this year, they wanted something that was individually wrapped, and so they came up with popcorn balls.
Amen.
they,
I'm excited.
have you had one of these? Poppies?
Oh, they're the best.
I don't know, but the
They're
smell
amazing.
has
They're the
been
best.
We
permeating to
just
my
got a
nose,
whole
and I'm
bunch
just
of
like,
them
oh
at Custom
my.
Coils too.
I'm,
And
this probably is not gonna make it past city limits.
Well, you drive faster than that.
eat it slow, you're gonna wanna eat it slowly.
He's gonna be going to Sioux Falls tomorrow on 41st Street.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Pat, I have a
Take care,
question for
everybody.
you.
Yes, ma'am.
For the
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
when did we,
when did you pay me?
yeah, we
Before?
I pledged it so much a year,
Okay,
so
all
I
right.
can't remember. I can look through my checkbook.
Oh, my.
No worries.
But you have.
Oh, I think it's absolutely, I've never
Oh,
handed it
sure.
to